Hello, I'm Dr. Ruth Roberts, your pet's ally, and hope you're having a wonderful day. There's a couple of things I wanted to talk with you about, and I don't know if you've noticed, but for me, it's been, I used to just dread the holidays in practice because the week before Thanksgiving was officially the start of lymphoma season. And in veterinary medicine and in human medicine, we tend to have a very dark sense of humor to deal with that. I mean, it's a heck of a thing if you're accustomed to seeing 15, 20 patients a day, and you're seeing half of those pets being diagnosed with cancer, or they have been diagnosed and they've spent the weekend at the emergency clinic. It really is so heartbreaking. And it makes, it's like, oh God, what am I going to do to help these guys? And you, the pet owner, if you're in this situation, you're heartbroken, you're afraid, you don't know what to do. So, first thing is, I want you to remember there are options. And the most important thing is for you to take a deep breath. Feel better? I do. See, I was starting to get anxious even just talking about this. So when I was studying acupuncture and Chinese medicine, my teacher, Dr. Shea, always said that part of the process of a pet being sick was for us to learn how to make peace with our difficult burdens and help our pets do the same. And so while may seem a little crazy to you, oh my God, my pet's been diagnosed with a terminal illness and my vet says it's going to die in 3 weeks and all. So take a deep breath. It's a good place to start, and it's going to make a little more sense in just a couple of minutes. And second, and we're just going to jump right into the woo-woo here, and I've gotten to the point in life where I'm less apologetic about it. But over the years, it's become really crystal clear to me that pets are our mirrors. And I think they buffer us from disease, and eventually, if we're not smart enough to figure out how to take better care of ourselves, they end up taking our diseases on in many situations. And some of this is a little fuzzy, but some of it is super clear-cut. And so I want to tell you about how that was for me and for our English setter Esau. So as many of you know, I had a massive exposure to mold some years ago, back in probably 15 or 16, somewhere in there. And unfortunately, it resulted in the loss of my cognitive abilities. I had to retire from practice because I was no longer competent to practice. And I had horrible dizziness and a whole host of other symptoms. So Mary Jo and I made the choice that it was time to move from South Carolina because of the high humidity. It just made the mold counts go up, and it just made my symptoms horrible. We had our air conditioning on in February so I could deal with, thinking halfway clearly. So as we were getting ready to leave and hit the road and become full-time travelers as we are now, Esau developed vestibular disease. And if you're not familiar with that, it is a thing that in old dogs we call it idiopathic or old dog vestibular syndrome. But basically what it does is mess up their balance system. And so if you know somebody that's had vertigo or something of that ilk, Meniere's disease, there's a whole host of things that will screw up our balance. It's pretty awful. And I had Esau and Mona in the car to go run a couple of errands. We came out, and he couldn't get out of the car. And so what had happened is the car had jiggled something loose, maybe those little otoliths in the vestibular symptoms. And then he started developing worse and worse dementia in the evening. So we were able to support him for several months with some pretty simple stuff, some meclizine for the balance issue, some lavender to kind of help calm him down at night when the dementia, the sundowner syndrome, was kicking up, and then a few other supplements for to help his brain function better. So this was pretty awesome. And I looked at him, and we were able to support him again for several months. And one day he woke up just totally checked out. So usually this wasn't starting until 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. But he was just totally out of his mind, didn't know where he was, all of those things. So he made it crystal clear for us and made it very easy to know that this was time for him to leave. He was ready to go on to whatever is next. Now, I could have made the choice to feel guilty about, oh my God, I made him sick, and it's awful, and it's terrible, and I'm just such a bad, awful human. But instead, I chose to thank him for protecting me and for taking on my difficult burden. And what I was able to do in that period of time where we could support him with a few simple tools was to thank him every day for being such a wonderful friend and for helping to protect me and staying in that peace of mind, and that we're getting ready to go. So, we're not going to be in this humid environment where I can feel better, we can all be happier. And, and eventually that made me feel a whole lot easier. And unfortunately, Esau didn't get to make the trip with us, but he had a good 2 months until it was time for him to leave the planet. So that's what I want you to remember. That's the thing I want you to remember, is that they do this out of pure love, and they want what's best for us. So it's up to us to accept their gift with grace and move forward in our lives so that we don't make those mistakes again. This is what our pets want for us, is to grow and to learn and be happy with them. They want to just go play at the beach, and we get all serious and stuff. So, just pretend for a few minutes that you're that puppy and that you're happy and all good. They gladly take on our burden to allow us the breathing room to understand how to change and how to heal. Now, this concept doesn't make it easier when your pet gets a cancer diagnosis, or it's really sick in the hospital from kidney disease, liver disease, gut disease, whatever serious illness you're dealing with. But if you spend your time in this place where you're thinking about your pet in terms of, oh my God, she's gonna die, this doesn't make things better for anybody. So you remember how I've been talking to you all year about meditation, finding a few moments of peace every day with your pet? This is where the rubber meets the road, for real. Yes, you should be worried. Yes, there is something serious going on. But if you stay in that total place of total negativity and fear and panic, it makes things so much worse for you and your pet. So what does this have to do with pets getting so sick around the holidays? I believe it's because we put so much emotional baggage around the holidays about making everything perfect and buying this and buying that, and I really need this to complete my decor scene and all of that. And then you've got the whole family coming over, or you have to drive 6 hours to your family, and it's so stressful and just not fun. And so here we are in this whole frenzy that goes with the commercialization of what should be a peaceful and easy time with our families. And for those of us that are devout in the faiths that celebrate these holidays, a time of happiness, of joy, of forgiveness, of knowing that we are loved by our Creator. Instead, it's a massive rush up to these days full of frenetic energy, and for many of us, it leaves us feeling empty inside and with the idea that we are somehow less than. So imagine what your pet is perceiving from you and your family during these months. They feel us being afraid, feeling that we are judged, that we are panicked, that we're rushed and absolutely distracted from the things that nurture us, including them. If they've been carrying a fairly heavy burden emotionally for us already, this may be the thing that tips the scales into full-blown disease. Again, my goal is not to make you feel guilty, but aware of what's going on. And if you are aware, then you have the choice to make a change. So if you find yourself in this situation where your pet's in the hospital, or if a loved one or friend's pet is in the same situation, here's one of the best things you can do to support you, your pet, or your friend's pet. Take a deep breath. And on the out breath, see your pet or your friend's pet wrapped in light and all of the love that they deserve and that we don't give them directly. We think about them all the time, but we may not sit down and say, I love you so much, Esau. Thank you so much. Regardless of the outcome, and the outcome sometimes is death, but regardless of the outcome, the pet will be more at peace, you'll be more at peace, and hopefully your friend will feel more at peace as well. So that's enough of the woo-woo. And here's some more concrete suggestions about what you can do to support your pet or your friend's pet with serious disease if they're asking for help, especially cancer. That's the thing that terrifies us the most. So first, don't go out and buy 27 supplements in this program and that program. Let's start with the basics. Is your pet eating well? Well, great. Then go on to the next step. If not, let's shift the diet to something that will support the body and allow the immune system to function more normally so that the cancer cells get killed, the kidneys are supported, whatever your pet's dealing with. And I'd love to tell you that the Crock Pet diet's the best choice for every pet, but frankly, you need to look at where your pet is. And if they're not eating, get them eating. If all they want to eat is Fancy Feast or Vienna sausages, then let them eat that. How much better to enjoy what you're eating, even if it's not that much, than to be offered healthy food that is simply unappetizing or adds to the nausea that you're experiencing. It's okay to use things like appetite stimulants, prednisone, B12 injections, whatever it takes to help support your pet and make them more interested in food and hopefully feel a little bit better. So if your pet is eating, this is the time to shift the diet into more vegetables, more things that support them, support their immune system, and to start adding in supplements. But start slow. Don't go out and buy that cancer support protocol with 6 components plus 12 other things. Just take it one at a time, so as you add these things in, you're clear about what's creating an issue, what doesn't work well for your pets. The other thing is if your pet needs prescription medications during this time to keep whatever the disease is under control, these are the priority items to go in the food bowl. Make sure they're eating this well, that you have some sort of system set up to get the medicines in so that whether that's Vienna sausages or sardines or what have you, so that the pet gulps down the medicines and then they eat their food clean, meaning no supplements or medicines added to it. So the home run supplements that consistently help almost every disease are fish oil, probiotics, and a multivitamin. If you or your pet are sick, the body needs a lot more nutrients than it has in the past just to handle this and get help healing. So add those in one at a time. And if that way, if something is offensive to your pet, you know exactly what it is. So the other thing I want to remind you about, if your pet does have cancer and it's on conventional chemotherapy, you do need to leave out the fish oil for 1 day prior to the chemotherapy and about 3 days after each of the chemotherapy treatments. See if you can find an acupuncturist in your area. That always helps them feel better. So you can look at, if you're in the Charleston area, go check out Dr. Meredith Borakove with Chi on Wheels. She actually can come to your house. She is a great acupuncturist and knows herbal medicine. So I'm going to put her Facebook link here in the comments. And if you're not sure where to start, Or if you're somewhere else, check out tcvm.com and ivis.org. I've put those two links in the comments, except for I didn't spell IVIS correctly. But these are organizations that train veterinarians on acupuncture, and they have practitioner lookups. So that, I think, will help you find somebody that can help you. Acupuncture just seems to help the body feel better, regardless of what's going on. And then lastly, check out the Tui Na video in my free membership area. And the reason this is important, so this is some very rudimentary moves in Tui Na that will help your pet feel better. If you are moving the fascia, the connective tissue, it helps to move goo out of the fascia. So it's something you can do with your pet to help them feel better, whether they're still in the hospital or not. You'll be able to really kind of help them get some goo moving and feeling much better. So again, if you haven't gone to the free members area and signed up, click that link in the comments and head over to the holistic health protocols, which you'll see towards the bottom of the page. If you're struggling with a pet with cancer, pay really close attention to the cancer support protocol. All of those protocols, I list my, the best sort of tips I can give you on getting started and with supporting your pet with those diseases. And of course, I do consultations with people remotely, either by telephone or a video chat. And then lastly, it is a great time to head over to the store because it's we've got 5% off, and we are going to have that for the rest of this week. And the other thing is that we have sold out of, sorry, let me put this link in and then I'll focus a little better. So we have sold out of holistic total body support for dogs. So that is awesome. Again, these products are all expiring this year. We do still have quite a bit of the cat product left. It is marked down to $8 a jar. If you buy one, you get one free. You'll take an additional 5% off of that. So it's a pretty good deal. And that's what I have for you this week. So I hope this has been helpful. It's kind of the way I think about disease in general. I mean, there is the reality of the disease, but then there's also the emotional component of it. So that's what I have for you this week. We're getting ready to head over to the Crock Pet Chefs broadcast, which will also be on YouTube. So if you're a member of the Crock Pet Chefs community, just if you haven't gotten that email or a messenger reminder, then just head over to the Facebook page, and the link for the YouTube broadcast should be there, and hopefully I have figured out how to do the technology. So until next week, remember, your pet's best health starts in the bowl, and I am your pet's ally, and you are too. And in fact, you are your pet's most important ally. So take good care. We'll see you next Monday. Thanks.